So, fairly recently, I began the process of playing through the Danganronpa trilogy. At the time of this recording, I'm almost done with the second game. And I decided that because of how many characters there are in each game, and because of how good this series and the characters in it are, that it would be interesting to do, a tier list as generic as that general concept is of my thoughts on the cast of the original game. Initially, I was wanting to do this for, the entire. Like, I wanted to do one tier list for the entire trilogy in one video, but it was just taking way too long for me to get through the trilogy. So I think that you should expect videos for the second game and the third game both individually. Now, I want to start with the characters that I think people will have the most questions about, or have the most of like why is that character there? And that's basically Junko and Makuru, because for me, when it comes to this, um, I'm factoring in like who the character actually is getting priority over who the character is perceived to be. In other words, uh, Junko, who's right there in B tier, is both Monokuma and Monokuma and actual Junko in the final trial counts as that. And then also, of course, the quote unquote fake Junko in chapters 1 and 2 counts as Makuro. And now, obviously, I do feel like that the fact that someone that we quote unquote thought was dead was actually alive and was the true mastermind is a great twist, but that doesn't change the fact that the fake Junko has more screen time, more character development, and is a more likable character than the real Junko, despite the fact that the real Junko is a very good late game twist. And and also, in addition to that, when it comes to the difference between that's also why, for a similar reason, that's why I did Toko and Genocide Jill in different tiers as well, because yeah, because at the end of the day, Toko and Genocide Jill are two different people that share one body. And I feel like that at the end of the day, Toko is Toko and Genocide like Toko and Genocide Jill are both, they are both stereotypical for the archetype that they are, but Jill has a little bit more complexity and depth to her, and that's partially because Toko kind of just spends the entire game simping for Byakuya, and that's kind of all there is. But with Jill, it's like, yeah, she does that, and she does do that the entire game, but she does other things as well, and just the fact that um just the fact that the serial killer never kills is also interesting. And then also, in addition to that, there's also, I think it's also pretty clear by the list that how much a character is in the game matters. But honestly, that makes sense, because at the end of the day, like, how it makes sense that someone like Leon, who's only in the game for like the first 5 hours, would not be able to compare to characters like Kyoko and Togami, who are literally there for the entire game. And also, Makoto being so low uh, is because at the end of the day, even though he's, the protagonist and is around for the entire game, he's also, a self-insert avatar character, and therefore, like when it comes to personality and motive, Makoto is literally the player, except worse. And the reason why it's the player but worse is because it's the player, except anytime you disagree. Except there's this is not a visual novel where you're allowed to make decisions that influence the story, and therefore, uh, anytime that you disagree with Makoto, you 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 have to stick to his decision. Like for example, uh, there's lots of times where Makoto dislikes a character that you like, but you can't do anything about that. And if you whenever a trial has an obvious answer, which really only happens one and a half times, you can't just be like, oh well, clearly the answer is, and like that does bring Makoto down. And then obviously, there are, however, there are exceptions to the time rule, because like for example, even Mondo isn't in the game that much, but when he is around, he's very charismatic and he's very likable. And also in addition to that, I also feel that the Mondo Chihiro trial is one of the better trials in the in the original game. And so yeah, there you have it. Now I also feel like that I don't, when it comes to my tier list versus the general consensus, I don't know how different it is. However, honestly, I think that I think that most people would probably, I think that with most people their tier list would basically be this, except they would lower Hina and they would raise Real Junko and Celeste. Probably. I think that that's probably the difference between my opinion and the general consensus. Also, in addition to that, even though Hifumi and Hiro are both like over the top, stupid meme characters that shouldn't be taken that seriously, I guess I wouldn't be that surprised if people are like, yeah, but that's better than being boring. And therefore, I wouldn't be that surprised if a lot of people have Hiro and Hifumi higher than Leon, Taka, and Sayaka. However, it is also hard because even though Sayaka is in the game for about 5 minutes, during when she's around before she gets killed, the game makes you think that she's gonna be the main girl, and for that reason, I could easily see people getting attached to her during that brief time and caring a lot when she died and having her way high up. But no, not me. Just, however, I do think that they did a good job with because the fact that Leon was the one who killed her was obvious enough, that the fact that they added emotional stakes to that by making it so that she actually tried to kill him but it went wrong definitely does add another layer of depth to her. So even with Sayaka, despite her brief role in the game, I wouldn't even she I would not classify as a one-dimensional character. And even, I guess, technically from an analytical standpoint, Makoto is probably technically the worst slash least interesting character in the entire game. But even he uh is not one dimensional. And see, and it's so easy to look at it's so easy to look at Makuro in a vacuum and be like, wait, but all, she dies immediately. She has no speaking lines. She doesn't participate in any trials, and she overall she very much so is enigmatic and a mystery. And but because it's so easy to forget that that's just not true, because everything we get from Junko in the prologue and chapter 1 is actually Makuro, and therefore we actually do have a pretty decent idea of what she's like as a person. Now, yeah, I get that she's playing a role there, so she's acting, so she's not being fully honest with us. But it's also true that it's not like it's completely a facade or completely a lie. Anyway, yeah, I ended up saying a lot more about this than I thought I was going to be able to, which is actually good. So, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to let me know what you think. Like, obviously, like, I don't know any opinion you got you want to say. Like S, S, just your S tier, just your A tier, top 5, top 10, top 15. Also, in addition to that, at the time of this recording, I have just finished the 5th trial in Danganronpa 2, so I would very much so appreciate it if you don't leave. Please, no spoilers for anything after that, because I am planning to finish the second game, then do the V3 anime, and then play V3. And then after that, I'm gonna play the sexy beach time pool adventure thing that just came out, like, at the time of this recording, like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, until next time, peace.